Let me guess, your better half won't let you have any fun, will she? She wouldn't let you get that motorcycle, that boat, that ridiculous car you wanted, or heaven forbid, one of these things. Well, you come to me, what, twice a week, because you want to hear a story about a car. Well, today I'm going to give you relationship advice, and what I'm going to teach you is you're going to get her to want what you want, and she's going to think it's her idea. How do you like them apples? Okay, well, let's kick this off just a bit different. According to this, if we want to do the race start, we need to be in the race mode. Okay, there we are in the race mode. The stability control has to stay on. Left foot brake. Okay, so I'm standing on this thing. And then let's hit the get. Oh, here we go. Bist du fertig? Ich auch. Oh my God, we're doing this in a station wagon! Oh my God! Okay, we totally knew this thing would be fast. I mean, come on, 603 horsepower and 627 pounds of torque. But it's kind of like bullfighting. You know what is going to happen at the end, but you're never prepared for it. Race start in a station wagon with that much power. Oh my God, it was just glorious. Oh, okay. I don't smoke, folks, but I think I need a cigarette. Okay, not to get too Jesus on you, but one cannot live on bread alone. Well, guess what? We can't live on race start alone. Let's try to be somewhat professional here, even though this thing puts a shit-eating grin on my face. And let's try it in a regular mode. So let's come to a complete full stop. Give it, be fair about this. And let's go, you know what? Let's just go to comfort. Like your mother would drive a Mercedes station wagon. No brake stands. Straight arrow road in front of us. Foot into it. Bist du fertig? Ich auch. It doesn't sound as cool, but my God, it's still fast. I mean, instead of 3.4 to 60, it's 3.8? Oh my God, that is so terrible. I would love to sit here and tell you it's all about the horsepower, but it's not just the horsepower, it actually is the transmission. It is incredibly well paired with this thing to the point where it shifts quickly, and because it is dual clutch, it is more sure-footed shifts. Like, you don't have that delay. I would argue this is a better transmission than in an M5 because it is a quicker but also more solidly shifting transmission. I'm really trying here. I really am to be professional and above board and evaluate this the best way I can, but people, I've been waiting for this thing for months, years to drive something like this. In fact, that white S560 we drove was supposed to be this. I cried like a baby for, well, honestly, a day until that S560 turned up, and then it made me think about something else. But now I'm back to, oh my God, this thing it's better than you think. And you sometimes have to remind yourself, it's not just that it's quick, you expect it to be quick and looking forward to think, oh my God, I'm in an E63S sedan. But then you look in the rearview mirror like, oh no, I ain't. And that's when you're like, I would love to be a parent. I never thought I would say that. But with this, I would love to be a parent. Perhaps you have yet to suss it out, but to say I'm biased about this thing would be the understatement of the century. That said, you and I need to have a come to Jesus discussion about this awful color choice. Not that I'm mad at black cars, especially a metallic black like this, but on this specific example, serial number ending 203, this was the worst choice possible. And there is some reasoning for my madness here. Look at all the trim pieces. The stuff around the daylight opening, the carbon fiber trim down there, the mirror fairings that are carbon fiber, of course the black wheels. All of this is lost when the car is black. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but one of the best color choices is white on this thing. Or Santa Maria Madre di Dios, that Salente gray we had on an S63 sedan. On this thing, it's otherworldly. But then, perhaps I can give a color and trim choice suggestion here. maybe some options here where instead of the black, it's like too much. This is a station wagon. How about like a satin finish chrome option, or perhaps a satin finish nickel plated option? That would be cool, especially if you bring in that, remember the burgundy from that AMG GTC? Imagine that with the nickel plating here, black wheels. Oh my God, I don't know if it's me or I'm just getting old, but a burgundy station wagon. I never would have thunk it. Okay, oh God, that does sound good, but I know a way to make it sound a lot better. Let's go back to race mode and put our foot into it. Downshift coming around this. Oh, controlled misfire. I told you it would sound better. Anyway, we need to understand a couple of things here. Remember, we talked about in the tech review how big and how heavy this thing is. This is really where it's going to have an impact. Let's come around this nice turn here. It's about the first sharp one we're going to do in driving dynamics. Downshift, put our foot into it coming out of the turn. And you know what? You really don't notice a hell of a lot of like pitch, squat, dive, or roll. What you do get is lean on the outside, and it's a very controlled lean, and that's a function of the two things we discussed in the tech review, which is that almost 4,700 pounds, which is what, a little over 100 pounds more than a sedan. And then there's the length. It is a little bit longer than the sedan, and the height, meaning there is height, meaning extra weight in the worst place, which is at the top of the car. So those are the things that are impacting how this thing drives around corners like this, and God, it doesn't impact the power or even the joy. As a matter of fact, feeling a little bit of that lean, it kind of reminds you what you're driving and how special it is. Who would have thought that you and I would have gotten to a point in life where A, we'd be excited about driving a station wagon, and B, one that is completely bonkers with this much horsepower. We really are living in an alternate universe. Now, that's, oh God, that sounds good. In race mode specifically, also Sport Plus, but in race mode, most assuredly you feel the majority of the torque is going to the rear wheels, to the point where it squats a little bit in on itself there when I'm getting out of that turn, and you have just a little bit of control to steer the car with your right foot. But check this out. I take my foot off the gas. As it coasts, it disengages the front axle. So that's another way of saying what's variable is the front axle. So put another way, this is a two-wheel drive car. This is indeed a rear drive car that just happens to have a front axle surgically attached to it that's used under load. It's time. It's time for us to get down to business, but to do that, we have to do a bit of translation, something akin to going from Aramaic to Latin to German to English. In other words, it's not as straightforward as a memory button like we had on the M5. Here, there is, well, I'll show you. So step number one is we have to go to race mode. Sport, Sport Plus, race. There we go. Step number two is we have to switch off the stability control. So we hold down this button here. A warning light comes up here. Okay, that's off. Now we need to switch the transmission to manual mode. We hit this button here. Okay, now we're in manual mode. Now there's a couple of important factors. Number one, car has to be on level ground. Can't be this, can't be this, and the wheels have to be straight. Then you got to put your foot on the brake. Now the most important step. These two paddles you pull back simultaneously. There's an interrupt screen, and then you confirm it with up. Now we're in drift mode, aka two-wheel drive mode. So, let's go have some fun. Here we are, modern day 600 horsepower muscle car that also happens to be a family car that is completely two-wheel drive. And the thing you notice immediately is you are not fighting two planes of motion with the steering wheel. Like, you're not gripping it as much. You don't feel like there's so much going on. You feel like you are controlling the car more than the computer is controlling you. I have to say, the difference isn't as grand as it is in the M5, if I'm being completely full disclosure here. But there is indeed a difference. Like, for example, you feel like you can actually steer the car with your right foot more so than in the all-wheel drive mode. There's a little bit of, I guess you could call it just a teeny weeny bit of lean up front. You don't get that in the all-wheel drive mode, frankly, because the wheels aren't doing as much in this mode. But my God, it's so much more fun when you can step out just a little bit like there. God, now I see why they call it a drift mode as opposed to two-wheel drive. Maybe the people in Stuttgart, they're being a bit more imaginative than the ones in Munich. Oh my God, this is... people... this is a lot of fun for a station wagon. Too much fun. This is the kind of thing, like I was saying in the M5 episode, you can get yourself into trouble real quick in this thing. Especially this one, because there's more weight, and the weight is in the wrong place. That is my... think of this as like a public service announcement, where in the M5 you don't have like 150 extra pounds sitting in the ass end. Here you do, and especially when you are trying to make this thing dance as that computer is showing. God, it's like another input, like almost like you're a pilot instead of a driver. Okay, I get it. Life ain't all fun and games. So let's talk that other love language, practicality. And there's a lot of it going on back here. Now, I already showed you the storage area with those auxiliary fuel tanks from that plane over there. And just as an aside, one of you left a great comment in that Kia episode that we should call those Stinger missiles. Get it? I think I'm going to go with it. I like the suggestion. Anyway, the back seats, you could go all the way around because there's buttons in the door jambs to put the back seats down. But instead, come on, this is German engineers. Of course, there's a button back here for this side and a button back here for this side. I'm going to file that under party trick. Then this, a mat for us OCD folks. Now, Kumo, he did not quite agree with me on the mat. Then this piece goes up automatically with the gate, and that is to reveal another party trick, the super double secret storage area. But then this, this is a $130,000 car. You don't want to have to hold this up while you're accessing the storage area. So the German engineers from Stuttgart have thought through everything by giving you this hook here to reveal the absolute best selling point for your better half. Her very own collapsible shopping basket. So whenever she goes to like the local farmer's market, great, or one of those overpriced markets like Whole Paycheck, she can put her stuff in here, and then, yes, you're gonna have to let her drive it, you put this down here covering the overflow tank for the air ride system, and she could put this back here, and this way, all of the overpriced groceries that you guys argue about don't like go everywhere like a Turkish bazaar. So think of this as your ace in the hole to get her to agree to letting you get a car with 627 pounds of torque. And this way, you could also drive it the way you should drive it. So guess who I was finally able to talk into coming back on the show. Usually Aston Martins are his thing, but when he saw this, I don't know if it was the look of a station wagon or the fact that it had so much power, but I didn't even have to ask, actually. He just jumped right in this thing. I will tell you, fish sticks definitely helped as well. He was kind enough to draw up a list of things he likes and things he doesn't like. Let's start with the things he likes, and the obvious one is the color of the interior. I like it too because you could imagine it's not a bitch to clean when he's sitting back here, and there's a reason why he's sitting down here as well, not just because of the color of the interior, but this is fitted with a vent, at least two of them in the back. I can adjust the fan speed. Did you want it on 4 or 5 fan speed? 4, sorry about that. And what temperature? 65? He's very demanding. Okay, we're back up to 65. Then there's something he and I just don't like. We both agree on this, and that is the shifter. Now, serial production Mercedes, they put the shifters on the steering column, which he and I completely disagree with. And here's why. I get you want to have room for your overpriced daily coffee. Okay, in a regular Mercedes with a 4-cylinder or a regular 6-cylinder, great. But this is a special car, man. I mean, can't just look at his face, special car. So let's have a special shifter. We're not even asking for a manual. Move it from the steering column to the console, please. Now, before we let you go here, I do want to give you a bit of an update here on the big man. He has not been on the show in a while, as you guys full well know. That's because he's had not one but two injuries. You take a look at him and you think he's a big dog. He actually isn't. He's 65 pounds. It's the fluff that gives him like the size advantage. Well, he, I don't know how to nicely put this. He tries to make friends with coyotes. They don't seem to really agree. They weigh significantly less than him, and he's got that advantage of having all this fluff, so they think he's a lot bigger, and thus they're scared of him. Well, he tries to chase them to play, and they don't understand play. Well, he tore his meniscus the first time, and then it's the kind of thing where he's got to sit. He can't really do much. So while he was on the mend from that first injury, sure enough, he chases another coyote and a squirrel, and he injured himself yet again. So he's been down for the count for a solid 5 months, but now he's walking around just fine. He's happy to come back on camera and say hello to you guys. I know. Yeah! He definitely knows you guys miss him, and both he and I thank you a lot for showing the care and concern for him, because you guys have just unsolicited asked, hey, where's Kumo? And well, here he is, and here's the update, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew what was going on. But hopefully he'll be back on the show more often, and he'll be spending more time with you guys, and hopefully with me too. And with that, we come to the moment of truth, because by now you've seen the tech review of this. You've seen the tech review in not one, but two drive episodes of the F90 M5. So Captain Obvious would ask, which one's better? But sadly, like life, the answer is not quite that simple, because they both have attributes that stand out. For example, this much prefer the driving dynamics, the way the engine delivers power, and the fact that this has a twin clutch transmission. It just shifts gears better for a broken car guy like me. But we really can't say the BMW is out for the count, because that has small things going for it, like the UX, mainly aided by the fact that it has sort of real gauges. I mean, come on, man, throw me a bone here. This video game system here in a special car, it needs special gauges. But then, really what makes that thing stand out is the two-wheel drive mode. That one transports you back to like the near perfect days of the E39 M5, like seriously old school. This is great in two-wheel drive drift mode, but it's not that I don't know how to put it, but it makes your heart skip a beat when you drive that in two-wheel drive mode as opposed to this. Then you would think, man, it's the M5, let's call it a day. Well, there's one intangible we haven't hit upon yet, and that is form factor. The fact that this is on offer in a station wagon, an estate, a touring, a pig fair car, whatever the hell you want to call it, this really makes my heart skip a beat, and I want it so much more because of the form factor, even with the imperfect dash. So, until BMW decides to make a touring, this one is the one that stands out for me. However, it's not quite that simple, because life always throws you a curveball, and the curveball is this. I would have a very hard time saying no to another car to say yes to this, and that would be the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo Turbo S. There's a catch to it though. The car you're looking at has a base price of almost $107,000 US. The way this one is equipped, over $130,000 US, and it's mainly like dress-up stuff for all that, like, what, $23,000 in options. But that Panamera Sport Turismo we drove last summer in Canada on Victoria Island, that was like $180,000 US. So this is a bargain compared to that car. Thus, I'm going to turn this around to you guys and leave you with a question. And the question is this: which one would you choose? The bargain basement AMG E63S at a measly $130,000, or would you choose the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo? And don't just tell me which one you would choose, tell me why you would choose it, where you hail from, and most importantly, what options would you put in your rather expensive station wagon? Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, Motoman TV all in word, Motoman TV all in word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I do want to leave you another question. This one's somewhat more serious about the format of this. We grouped these episodes together kind of like a comparison. Do you want to see more of this stuff? Let me know yes or no, and what you liked or what you didn't like in the comments below as well. Until I see you next time, be später. If I haven't said so yet, people, God, this thing is so good. I mean, to the point where you put this and that GT3 in my garage, and maybe a classic Lotus in the back, and that would be about the perfect garage. Maybe for like 20 minutes, but still perfect. You got my point.